I finally landed a job in my dream company, and I was excited for the first shift. You see, everyone thinks having an office job would be boring and advises me not to work in an office for my sanity. But this isn't any regular office job. I get to document and rearrange files for the deceased and have regular visits by the mortuary for final background checks. Nothing could go wrong since they were dead, right? I followed my manager as she gave me a quick tour around the building. The luxurious sofas and the large coffee machine made my excitement skyrocket. And this is the desk you'll be working at alongside Nicole. A girl beside the desk waved in my direction, and I could only guess it was Nicole. Do you have any inquiries or requests? My manager asked. No, thank you. I'm ready to start working. He patted me on the back saying, "That's the spirit," before he walked away. I looked around at my new surroundings before bringing my boxes and settling down. As I delved into the routine of filing paperwork and organizing documents, the days started blending. The mortuary visits became a regular occurrence, and the initial discomfort I felt soon faded away. Nicole and I formed a quick camaraderie, sharing laughs over our mundane tasks. It was just another day in the office until things took an eerie turn. One afternoon, Nicole and I were engrossed in our work when the lights flickered. I dismissed it as a mere electrical glitch, but a chill ran down my spine nonetheless. The air in the office seemed heavier, suffused with an inexplicable tension. Did you feel that? Nicole asked, her eyes wide. I nodded, unease settling in the pit of my stomach. We exchanged nervous glances as the atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive. The mundane hum of the office now carried an unsettling undertone. The next day, strange occurrences escalated. Cabinets creaked open on their own, and the soft murmur of hushed whispers echoed in the empty corridors. I tried to rationalize it, attributing the odd happenings to an overactive imagination. But when my desk drawer flew open without warning, I couldn't deny the paranormal presence any longer. I confided in Nicole, who, surprisingly, didn't dismiss my concerns. Instead, her eyes widened with recognition. You know, the mortuary visits might have stirred something up, she whispered, glancing around nervously. Determined to unravel the mystery, we delved into the history of the office building. Rumors circulated about a former employee who met a tragic end within these walls. The more we uncovered, the clearer it became a malicious spirit haunted our workplace. Desperation gripped us as we sought a way to banish the restless entity. Armed with knowledge from old records, we performed a makeshift seance late one night in the office. Candles flickered as we called upon the spirit to reveal its intentions. A cold breeze swept through the room, and a shadowy figure materialized before us. Whispers turned into anguished wails as the spirit recounted its untimely demise. Nicole and I listened, empathy replacing fear. In a moment of clarity, we realized the spirit sought closure. Together, we pieced the missing fragments of its story, uncovering the truth behind the tragedy that bound it to the mortal realm. With newfound understanding, we helped the spirit find peace, guiding it towards the light. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the office returned to normalcy. Our colleagues noticed the change, but remained oblivious to the supernatural events we had faced. As Nicole and I continued our work, we shared a silent acknowledgement of the paranormal journey we undertook. The mortuary visits resumed, but this time, there was an unspoken agreement the departed were at rest, and the office held no lingering shadows. I couldn't help but marvel at the irony of my dream job. Looking back at everyone who advised me not to work there, I wish now that I would have listened, because now, I am one of the spirits that haunt the office to this day.
Story 2.
I was walking towards the office with my hands freezing. It was -4 degrees outside, and not even my large puffer jacket could save me. Once I reached the front doors, I ran towards the lift, trying to warm myself up. I was focused on warming myself until the doors to the lift opened again, but nobody entered. I could have been imagining things, but sooner or later, I knew my gut feeling was correct. I sat at my desk, continuing to sort out the files left from yesterday. Completely engrossed, I planned to finish everything early before it turned dark. "Would you like to get coffee together?" Jaden asked, wearing his coat and beanie. Thinking about it, I could use a coffee to get more energy and warmth. "Sure, Jaden." "Coffee sounds great," I replied, grateful for the excuse to step away from the monotonous task. The warmth of the coffee shop was a stark contrast to the chilly office. As we sipped our hot beverages, Jaden and I exchanged casual banter about work and life. It was a pleasant break from the mundane routine. As we returned to the office, the atmosphere seemed different. Colleagues who had been cheerful earlier now wore vacant expressions. The air felt dense, as if an invisible weight pressed down on us. I resumed my work, but a strange energy lingered in the office. Odd occurrences became more frequent: flickering lights, unexplained drafts, and a constant feeling of being watched. I chalked it up to stress initially, but the unease in the air refused to dissipate. One day, as I perused a stack of files, I noticed a colleague staring at me with vacant eyes. A shiver ran down my spine, and I realized something was wrong. The once lively office now felt like a graveyard of lost souls. I confided in Jaden, who, to my relief, shared my concerns. Together, we delved into the office's history, uncovering a tragic tale of a disgruntled employee who took their own life within these very walls. The pieces fell into place as we realized that the spirits of the departed were not at rest. The possessed colleagues became more erratic, their actions increasingly sinister. It became evident that breaking the curse was the only way to save them and restore normalcy to the office. Armed with knowledge from our research, Jaden and I embarked on a perilous journey to confront the vengeful spirits. We gathered items necessary for a makeshift seance, hoping to communicate with the entities and find a way to break the curse. Late one night, in the dimly lit office, we set up the impromptu ritual. Candles flickered, and the air became charged with an otherworldly energy. The possessed colleagues manifested, their eyes vacant yet filled with torment. Through the seance, we learned of the deep-rooted anger and sorrow that bound these spirits to the office. Jaden and I, determined to help them find peace, uttered words of solace and understanding. It was a delicate dance between the living and the departed, but our intentions were pure. As we concluded the ritual, a serene calm washed over the office. The possessed colleagues regained consciousness, their eyes no longer vacant. Gratitude and relief filled their expressions as they realized the torment had lifted. The curse was broken, and the spirits found solace, dissipating into the unknown. Jaden and I shared a silent moment of acknowledgement, knowing that we had ventured into the supernatural realm and emerged victorious. The office, once plagued by a ghostly presence, returned to normalcy. Colleagues resumed their daily routines, blissfully unaware of the paranormal ordeal that transpired. Jaden and I, however, carried the weight of our shared experience, forever bound by the spectral secrets of the office that haunted us no more.
Story 3.
Going to the office has been a nightmare these days. Objects have been floating around, cabinets open and closed on their own, lights flickering in the dark, and even the PC acting up. I couldn't take the torment anymore. One evening, after everyone else had left, I decided to confront the eerie occurrences that plagued our workspace. As I walked through the dimly lit office, a chilling breeze brushed against my skin. The air felt heavy with an unspoken presence. With each step, the creaking floorboards echoed through the empty corridors. I reached my desk, where a photo frame stood with a frozen smile from happier days. I hesitated but mustered the courage to investigate. The hum of the flickering fluorescent lights filled the room as I scanned the surroundings. Suddenly, a shadow darted across my peripheral vision, sending shivers down my spine. I clenched my jaw, determined to uncover the truth. The office printer whirred to life on its own, spitting out pages with cryptic symbols and messages. I picked up the sheets, my heart racing, deciphering a haunting tale of betrayal and unfinished business. It seemed the ghost sought justice for wrongdoing that had transpired within these walls. Driven by an unsettling curiosity, I delved deeper into the office's history. Late nights turned into early mornings as I combed through archives and spoke with longtime employees. The unsettling stories of a disgruntled former colleague, whose life had met a tragic end, emerged as a recurring theme. One night, as I sifted through dusty records in the abandoned storage room, the temperature plummeted. The air thickened, and a spectral figure materialized before me. Hollow eyes stared into my soul, conveying a plea for resolution. Trembling, I realized the ghost sought closure, a resolution to the injustice that had bound it to the earthly realm. Driven by a newfound sense of purpose, I tirelessly pursued the truth, uncovering hidden secrets and piecing together the puzzle that bound the spirit to the office. As the pieces fell into place, the ghostly manifestations gradually ceased. In the quiet aftermath, the once haunted office now bore a somber calmness, a reflection of the peace the spirit had finally found. In the weeks that followed, a newfound sense of normalcy returned to the office. The once floating objects now rested peacefully on desks, the cabinets remained closed, and the lights no longer flickered in protest. The PC operated smoothly, devoid of the mysterious malfunctions that had tormented my workdays. Colleagues noticed the change and expressed their gratitude, unaware of the paranormal investigation that had taken place behind the scenes. They credited the improvements to a stroke of good luck or a change in office maintenance. Only I, with the memory of spectral encounters still fresh in my mind, knew the true source of our workplace disturbances. Yet, as much as I tried to move on, the haunting question lingered: what if there were other spirits out there, still tethered to the mortal realm by unresolved grievances? It became an obsession, a gnawing curiosity that refused to be silenced. One evening, unable to shake the thought, I found myself researching paranormal occurrences in the city. Stories of haunted locations, restless spirits, and unsolved mysteries filled my screen. One tale, in particular, caught my attention: a historic building with a dark past, rumored to be haunted by the ghosts of its former inhabitants. Driven by a sense of duty to help those in limbo, I embarked on a new mission. The haunted office had taught me how to uncover the truth, and now armed with knowledge and experience, I delved into the history of the enigmatic building. The more I unearthed, the clearer it became that the stories surrounding the structure held more than just a hint of truth. Late-night visits to the ominous location became routine. As I explored the echoing halls and hidden chambers, I encountered spirits with stories as heartbreaking and unresolved as the one I had encountered in my office. Each apparition seemed to cry out for justice, pleading for their stories to be heard. Days turned into weeks, and my efforts gained momentum. The spirits, once trapped in a realm of despair, found solace in the unraveling of their pasts. Messages left behind by these ethereal entities painted a tapestry of forgotten lives, betrayal, and tragedy. It became apparent that the afterlife held secrets darker and more complex than I could have ever imagined. Yet, as I assisted these restless souls in finding closure, a growing unease settled within me. The line between the living and the departed blurred, and I questioned whether my actions were merely a conduit for resolution or an unintentional catalyst for something far more profound. In the dead of night, as I navigated the shadows of the haunted building, a whisper of a voice reached out to me. It spoke of a realm beyond, a dimension where the unresolved grievances of the afterlife converged. The spirits, now free from their earthly shackles, were transitioning to this unknown realm, leaving behind a void that begged to be filled. With a heavy heart, I realized that my journey was far from over. The unresolved grievances of the afterlife extended beyond the confines of individual spaces. A cosmic imbalance needed addressing, and I found myself standing at the threshold of a world where the living and the dead intertwined in ways I had never fathomed. As I pondered the next steps in my otherworldly quest, I couldn't help but wonder, would I be the one to bridge the gap between the living and the afterlife, or was I merely a pawn in a cosmic game that transcended the boundaries of our understanding? The answers awaited me in the shadows of the unknown, and my journey into the mysteries of the afterlife had only just begun.